So when I first started my channel, and even now after these past few months, Helaena has probably been one of the more requested characters for me to cover here, or at least one I've seen a few people ask for my opinions on. Originally, I thought I wouldn't do a video on her until Season 2 officially dropped and we had more to tackle on her, but I've since changed my mind. With Season 2 on the horizon, I figured a little video about arguably the most innocent and good member of the Green Team won't hurt anybody. Unfortunately, Daenerys gonna have to drift in the void a little bit longer, but regardless, we aren't gonna go deep into spoiler territory or anything for my show-only casuals, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into Helaena Targaryen, the Dreamer. Helaena Targaryen is the second child and first daughter between King Viserys and Queen Alicent, and fun fact, or shall I say fun theory, some people actually believe that Helena's name stems from Alicent's mother. In Season 1, it showcased a fair amount that Otto and Alicent really cared for her mother, whose name we don't know. Some fans theorize that Alicent named her daughter after her, that the name Helaena was actually derived from the name Helen. So perhaps Alicent's mother was known as Helen Hightower, which honestly sounds like it'd be a legit name, but I do find it ironic. Alicent makes it seem like her mother was such a comforting place for her, but Alicent when she was young just seems so out of place and uncomfortable when it comes to her children. Like when she held Helaena as a baby. She wouldn't stop crying, and Alicent just seemed so exhausted and out of place. But to be fair, she was a kid essentially forced to raise other kids. But this isn't about her. Helaena Targaryen is an interesting character. Like most people in House of the Dragon, Helaena is a dragon rider. Her dragon is named Dreamfire, which, now that I'm thinking about it, is oddly fitting because Helaena herself is a dragon dreamer. But we'll get more into that plot point a bit later. Dreamfire was the dragon of Princess Helaena Targaryen, the granddaughter of King Aegon I. After Maegor's reign, Dreamfire actually laid a clutch of eggs that were stolen by a woman named Eliza Farman, a friend and possible lover of Princess Helaena after the death of her husband Aegon the Uncrowned. Those eggs will later be found by Daenerys and hatched into Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion. Another egg that Dreamfire laid was the egg meant for baby Balon, the heir for a day, the egg that was stolen by Daemon for his imaginary child with Mysaria, though we don't know if that egg hatched into anything at all. After all, half of them never hatch.
It's been 8 years, sweetling. Half of them never do, you know.
What?
Hatch.
Helaena is a strange person, but arguably the most innocent person in the Dance of the Dragons. She doesn't care about war, politics, or birthrights. She just wants to sit around and play with her bugs. But it's hard when she's forced to play a part, like marrying her brother.
It isn't so bad. Mostly he just ignores you. Except sometimes when he's drunk.
There's no love between Helaena and Aegon, not as husband and wife, and not as brother and sister, ironically. She has to put up with him for the sake of family. Like how Alicent was forced to be with Viserys, a man she had no romantic feelings for the sake of the realm and supposed stability. It's honestly really funny how history repeats itself in A Song of Ice and Fire, how the sins of the parents pass on to their children, like how we saw during the dinner in episode 8. Though as mentioned before, Helaena seems to be the only one who doesn't actually care about the Iron Throne. I mean, when Aemon insults the Strong Boys, you see her do a little clap in the background because she just thinks Aemon's actually complimenting them. It's honestly really adorable, and it's clear that she's sort of a soft spot for the family. I mean, when she calls out Aegon, she's not even reprimanded. Otto just gives her a little smile and nods like he's saying, "Good job, honey." And while it's clear that she's loved, it's also clear that no one really expects anything out of her either. Not her mother, not her father, not her grandfather, and not her brother.
We have nothing in common.
She's our sister.
She's an idiot.
Though Aemon seems to be the only one who doesn't care that she's a bit quirky, saying that he would have married her had Alicent only betrothed them. Some people actually think that because Aemon seems to care about her more than Aegon, then perhaps Aemon and Helaena are having an affair. Some people theorize that Helaena and Aegon's children are actually Aemon's, kind of like how Joffrey, Marcella, and Tommen were actually Jaime's. Helaena and Aegon actually have 3 children together. There's Jaehaerys and Jaehaera, twins named after the old King Jaehaerys the Conciliator. The twins have a birth defect that causes them to have 6 fingers instead of 5. So despite being magical, not even the Targaryens are entirely immune to the effects of incest. Aegon and Helaena also have another son named Maelor, though we haven't actually seen him in the show, just the twins. So at the moment, people are wondering if he's getting the Daeron treatment and just being left to drift in the void until the writers decide what to do with him. But moving on. This theory kind of falls under the Criston Cole being the true father of Jaehaerys for me. I just don't see it for the time being. Other than that, the real intrigue from Helaena doesn't come from her brothers, her love interests, or her scandals. It comes from her dreams. Helaena Targaryen is a dragon dreamer. someone with the gift of prophecy and foresight. Her father Viserys was also a dragon dreamer. He had visions of the future, a son that had yet to be born, and of a war he mistook for peace. Aegon the Conqueror, the man who made the Targaryen dynasty what it is, also was said to be a dragon dreamer, at least in the show. In the books, Aegon was more of a mysterious figure, who pretty much took Westeros because he could, but in the show, the conquest was given a grander purpose than it had originally. It was for the greater good type deal. Dreams and omens are very important in the House of the Dragon, like the White Hart and how it supposedly symbolizes one's right to rule. Viserys, as Damon said, was a slave to his dreams and omens. They were ways to give his reign meaning, but in his eyes, dragons were the real power, not dreams. Though, as Viserys would put it,
what is the power of a dragon? It's the power of prophecy.
In a way, it's like Viserys is tortured by these visions. He can't understand them, but he keeps grasping for it anyway. But I believe Viserys actually pales in comparison to Helaena. Oftentimes, Helaena seems absent-minded, disinterested, and unsure. It's made to seem as if her dragon dreams actually have an effect on her mentally.
You'll have to close an eye.
I know it.
Weaving dragons of thread. Hand turns new.
Beware the beast beneath the boards.
Your father.
There is a beast beneath the boards.
Oh, my dearest love.
They come to her out of nowhere and she mutters them aloud in this mysterious way, like some mystical seer speaking of the future. Kind of like Maggie the Frog from Game of Thrones, if that even makes sense. She predicts Cersei's marriage to Robert, his infidelity, her infidelity, and the deaths of all 3 of her children.
Will the king and I have children?
No. The king will have 20 children. And you will have 3.
That doesn't make sense.
Gold will be their crowns. Gold. Their shrouds.
But Helaena is less matter-of-fact. She says things, but doesn't know what they mean, and half the time, I don't even think she recalls any of her prophecies. It's like she has a split personality that switches back and forth with her from time to time. It's strange, but that's all anyone else thinks of Helaena anyway. She's just a strange girl, and no one takes her seriously. But it does make you wonder, what if they knew? The common consensus among most people in the family is that Helaena is just a simple girl, somewhat mentally challenged, but what if they knew she was a dreamer? What if it was taken more seriously? Even when Viserys talks about his dreams, it really seems like people don't even believe him, or just humor him at best. When he confides in Alicent about his dream and how he mistook Baelon for Aegon, and then later on in his deathbed he talks about the actual Conqueror's dream, she gets confused about what he's saying, like with Helaena. But what if they actually caught on? Viserys never really spent much time with Alicent's kids. If he discovered that Helaena was a dreamer like him, would he have spent more time with her? Perhaps tried to hone her abilities and try to make her premonitions more coherent and understandable. Perhaps they could have been closer, like in the books. It said that Helaena and her 3 children Jaehaerys, Maelor, and Jaehaera visited Viserys the night before his death, and he told them a story about the old King Jaehaerys. Or maybe they could have made a new position at court specifically for her. Maybe I'm reaching, it could just be my creativity speaking, but if Helaena was recognized by Viserys, and her dreams were seen as an asset, and she could truly understand her powers, perhaps a new position at court could have been formed specifically for her and those like her. Perhaps the position of the Royal Seer. It's honestly not too far-fetched when you think about it, considering Daenerys made Grey Worm her Master of War, a position that never existed until she made it up. I could see that being the case if the Greens found out Helaena was a dreamer as well. Perhaps they try to use her abilities to predict the future, what will happen, when they'd happen. But dragon dreams are strange. Most Targaryens interpret them wrong, seeing what they want to see, hearing what they want to hear. Though Helaena seems unbiased towards her visions, they're just confusing and cryptic. Who knows if she'd even be able to conjure dreams at will. Either way, I can't wait to see what other premonitions we get from her in Season 2. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.